Okay, we're back with another episode of High Rated Edison today. Today we've got King of Khazad with 755 rating versus Dr. Argo on 1139 rating. So the Doctor will be inside the top 100, but the King is making their way up around about 200 rating off top 200. So we'll see how this one goes. Opening hands, Caius, double Vayu, charge and mirror force, so probably Vayu turbo. Not a bad hand, the Vayus look bad but the charge helps. This side you got double solar, nice, Raikou, cool, Lila and mirror force, so some kind of Lightsworn variant, and open the absolute nuts, so let's see it. Gonna recharge the Raikou, grabs charge, Cyber Dragon, mills foolish Cyber Dragon, gonna charge, mills Wolf, Celestia, Lila, picks up Lumina. Yep. I was going to say, I think you recharged the other Lila. Picks up Raikou. JD, nice. Mills Troop and Lila. So immediately they've got 3 Lightsworns in grave. And Lumina in hand to pitch. Yeah. That's not a bad start. Not a bad start. And a JD to go with it. Yeah, they're on more than one Raikou. So if you're playing the Ryanide Lightsworn build, which has become a bit more standard on ladder now, you're only playing 1 Raikou. They're also playing 3 Lila, so yeah, it's interesting. They're valuing the pops over the kind of like aggro stuff that Jane and Arcus give you. See how it works out for them. So just going to set the Raikou, set the Mirror Force, set the Call and pass. Feel like there's no need to play into Heavy Storm this hard, but you know, is what it is, I guess. Pick up for turn there was one of the trap cards. Vayu coming down now. Gonna get in. Raikou gonna go off mills. Wolf, Honest, and Heavy. Okay, that's nice. Having the Heavy go there is pretty rough because they've got 2 of the big power traps in hand, and they probably wouldn't set both if they hadn't seen Heavy. Charge, mills, Dad, Greffa, Hamster. Pickup is going to be a Raikou of their own. Yep, I think that's reasonable. Going to set the Mirror Force, end phase. They're going to call the Haunted, bring back the Lila. Yeah, okay. I think if I'm the Doctor and I've seen Heavy Storm go, I think I'm just setting both, right? Because Lightsworn's so explosive. You know, they could already have JD in hand, which we can see they do. Obviously, they don't know that. And Mirror Force doesn't answer that. Whereas TT would. I think I'm just setting both. If I've seen Heavy Storm go and they're already setting, but yeah, I guess end phase call the Haunted into Lila is pretty rough here. So yeah, gonna start with the Lila, gonna pop that Mirror Force. Yeah, gonna summon the Arcus, gonna get in with Arcus and Wolf. Are they? No, they're not quite at 4 Lightsworns in grave, because I was just thinking they also had Lumina pitch Cyber Dragon. Yeah, I wonder if there was a route to game here. End phase, Mills. Oh, okay. Wow. Mills were Jane, Erin, Graganith. We've seen this card recently, which is funny because I haven't seen it in years, and now I see it, you know, back to back on replays. Yeah, if you've not read this one before, I'll go over it again because it's so, you know, I don't think everyone watches every video, and this card comes up so infrequently. This card gains 300 attack for each Lightsworn, attack and defense for each Lightsworn monster with a different name in your graveyard, and it does piercing damage basically. And then in the end phase, you can mill 3, but it is a 1 tribute monster. It's really cool. It's a really good card to see. It can get absolutely massive, and then it can beat through defense position monsters. So last time we saw it, we think we saw it sided in for quick draw. I don't think it was mained. I think it was sided in for quick draw, and that's basically because they just keep putting tokens up. So you end up like summoning this and just going through those tokens with damage and still milling in the end phase. So it's pretty good there. It's a bit of a bomb. It's kind of like the opposite of Celestia, I guess. This takes things off the board. This beats the crap out of them, basically. Okay. Yeah, cool mills though. Bringing out another wolf and passing. Yeah, they're just not really on anything here. If they play into the torrential, it'd be a shame because they don't need to. Yeah, okay, good. It's good to see. So Necro Gardener going in, Arcus, and then the Wolf is going to get Necro Gardener. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, Mills in the M phase where Wolf, Garroth, Plague, Glorious Illusion, and Solar Recharge. A Glorious Illusion, oh god, again, another one people have probably never read. Continuous Trap, activate by targeting a Lightsworn monster in your graveyard, special summon that target in face of attack position during each of your end phases, send the top 2 cards from your deck to the graveyard. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. So it's basically like Call of the Haunted, but it gives you some mills and can only target a Lightsworn. Wolf coming out now, that's going to proc the TT. Yeah, bit rough, but they are still kind of sat on a Mirror Force. And their opponent is, yeah, just not getting into enough engine here. So they're going to set the Raikou pass. Yep, JD now. Yeah, JD uses effect, Lumina, and that one's game 1 over. Wow. So the king takes game 1. Let's go into game number 2, where the Doctor gets to start. So opening hands, Celestia, Lumina, Graganith. Unreal. They're not sided this out in is feeling crazy. Jane and Lila, Solemn, Caius, Bottomless, Vayu, MST, and Hamster. So a better start this time. I think Hamster set with one of the traps is pretty good here. Okay, choosing not to set the traps. The thing about Bottomless is it immediately like gets rid of the Lila, even if they do have it. So I think you set the Bottomless, right, and just in case they start Cyber Dragons. You saw they had Cyber Dragons game 1. Recharge coming down now. Lila picks up Gauze and Call of the Haunted, Mills, Foolish, and the Garroth. Nice. Hopefully we see the Lumina Garroth combo. Yeah, here we go. So discard the Jane, bring out the Garroth. Garroth going to get in. That is going to get over the Hamster though, which is nice. So it's going to bring out the Raikou set. And they're going to set the Call of the Haunted and pass. Yeah, it's a shame they haven't picked up, like, it's a shame they haven't milled a Garroth because Raikou targets an Edison. So yeah, a Garroth that they could have then like Call of the Haunted. They could still target the Call of the Haunted, but like, you know, it would stop them taking out the Lumina immediately. Would have been really cool. Okay, so Lumina's going to mill JD, Card Trooper, Raikou, Garroth's going to mill, oh yeah, Lightning Vortex and Wolf. That's what you want to see. So Wolf coming out now. Pass over, draw for turn is Raikou. Yeah, they're just getting stuck under their own Raikous a lot of the time. They've got, I mean, they've got it good here. They can, yep, okay. I was going to say they can MST the back row, flip the Raikou and Caius, which is a pretty good conversion. So we're going to start with MST. That's going to go after the Call of the Haunted. Call of the Haunted is going to bring back Card Trooper. As Card Trooper is destroyed, it's going to get to draw and picks up Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. Okay. Yeah, I mean, why not? Flip summon is Raikou. Going to pop the Wolf. Mills there, not particularly good. Crow, Gale, Dust Shoot. Going to Caius the Lumina. Yeah, that's a good conversion. Going to get into the Garroth. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. It wasn't a lot of commitment, and it looked really good. Sets a Solemn and Bottomless. I think the thing is that your opponent's just drawn 2 cards that they didn't have access to otherwise. So they should be on 3 cards, but because of the Garroth and the Card Trooper play, they're up to a full hand right now. Okay, pick up his Heavy. That is rough. I think you slammed that down though. Yeah, so it's going to get Solemned. I think you take that. Either way, you're pretty happy with this. You've got a Gauze in hand. You can't summon either of these monsters, so if this interacts with a monster in any way, if it's a D-Prison, a Bottomless, Mirror Force, Torrential, whatever it is, you're not able to like even play into it. So yeah, I think you take a Solemn there. If the king watches that back, I think that was a good transaction. Sets the Shadow Imprisoning, sets the Beckoning, and passes. This is interesting. I'd have liked to have seen them play with the Gauze in mind. Yeah, I think if I'm in their position, their opponent's not really done a whole lot this game so far. That Caius play was nice, but it was set up on the back of a Hamster, so pretty easy conversion. I'd have rather. So basically, what I'm saying there is that I feel like the hand is bad. If I was the king, and we can see that it's not great. I'd have rather set the Shadow Imprisoning, sets the Beckoning, and passes. This is interesting. I'd have liked to have seen them play with the Gauze in mind. Yeah, I think if I'm in their position, their opponent's not really done a whole lot this game so far. Their opponent's not done a whole lot this game so far. You know, pretty easy conversion. I'd have rather. So basically what I'm saying there is that I feel like the hand is bad. If I was the king, and we can see that it's not great. So I think I'd be keeping these in hand, trusting the Gaurs to get me through the turn, then setting these and going off from there. Your JD is live if you can beckon in light to it, but it just feels like that loses to every trap that they could have right now. Okay. So they're going to go in with the Caius, yeah, and this is what I'd have liked to see. I would like to see Gaurs come down now. You know, it's going to play around the Bottomless and sort of the Raikou. You know, you don't really care if you can convert to take both monsters out, you do that. Yeah. Pick up return as another Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. Okay, they're going to discard all 4. They're going to pick up JD, Celestia, Raikou, and Lila. Yeah, that does leave 4 Lightsworns in grave. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And I guess Lila is just the best one. Jane would have been good for the hamster, but yeah, you kind of assume that Vayu are only on 1 or 2 hamster. You've already seen 1. So Lila coming down. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to get another Bottomless. And then JD coming down. Going with Prio. Yep. Getting rid of everything and passing. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you almost always start with the JD, right? You take the selfish play. And I think I'd have taken the Jane initially. And then I wouldn't have been... You know, I wouldn't have been too worried about the Lila effect. And I'd have dropped the JD and gone that way. Because the Solemn's already gone, so the only thing you'd really be trying to play around by not doing that is Starlight Road. In the end, you just ended up going into both of the Bottomlesses, which just doesn't feel great. I think the King would rethink that if they played this again. I'm going to set the hamster this side and pass. Draw for turn is MST. I'm going to set the Raikou, set the MST, pass. Draw for turn is Raikou. Going to flip the hamster now. Yeah, that's all good. No targets, because all of the Raikous are in rotation after that draw. That's rough. That is rough, Doctor. I feel your pain there. So the Raikou can get rid of the hamster. And Mills, Aaron, Raikou, recharge. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Going to set the Raikou of their own and pass. Draw for turn is Arcus. This is good. It's just a shame that you've set the MST. Which I think was the right play, but it just means that the Raikou has a target. Oh, Mills the Wolf in the end phase as well. This is good. They might get on for the Celestia. Yeah, pick up for turn is Sirocco. Sirocco coming down. Plague. Yep. They're going to go into the Arcus. That's going to work. They're going to use the Plague and the Sirocco for the Black Rose. Okay. Yeah, I guess they know the Celestia is in hand, actually, because it was taken off Beckoning. So yeah, they're going to have to try and play around it, but Solar Recharge is going to get rid of it, draws into JD. Oh no. Oh no. Mills, Plague, and Crow. They're only on 9 cards in deck though, so this JD's got to clean it up quick. So JD in for 3k. Sets the Mirror Force. Mills. Yeah, nothing of value. Sets the Vayu. Yeah, okay. Nice. Nice. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah. Players just sharing some GGs. Wow, what match. So yeah, King, a little bit underrated for the typical high rated videos that I do here. I'm not saying they're bad by any stretch. They've clearly got a really good handle on the format and the deck. But yeah, just this season not as high up as I'd like to feature. But I think the Lightsworn versus Vayu match is really cool because it's always so explosive. So whenever I see this, even if it's just one player that's high rated, I will take a look and save the replay, and then try and do a video like this just to make sure that I'm covering what's actually happening on ladder. And this is just such a cool matchup because we didn't really see the Vayu deck go off much this turn or this match, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, definitely a really cool match to see, and just see how explosive the Lightsworn deck is able to be at points, and actually how sometimes inconsistent the Vayu deck can be if you're only really seeing the hamster Raikou package and not much else to kind of go in with it. I think the thing about Lightsworn is it has a lot of effects that get rid of cards, so like Lilas, Celestias, or cards that nullify other cards like Arcus, and Eren. So a lot of the time, you're trying to build a board against a Lightsworn deck, and it's just kind of getting picked apart if you're already behind, and that's a lot of what we saw today. The Doctor is a very good player. I've seen them play a number of times before. They're a really good player, and they're really good on this deck. I think this match just highlighted that, if it's slow to open against a combo deck like Lightsworn or Gigavice or, I don't know, Psychic OTK, Jinzo OTK, then you are just going to struggle. But they do have all the options in the world in this deck, and it was good to see them try and mount like comebacks each games. Then Lightsworn a little bit fortunate on some of the pickups, a little bit fortunate on some of the mills, but ultimately they prioritise milling and cards that might draw them more cards like Garroth and Call of the Hornet for Card Trooper. So they earned some of that luck. But yeah, really good match to watch. Well done to the King for taking down the Doctor with quite a rating disparity. That must have felt threatening, or at least I know it would have felt threatening to me if I'd have queued up into a top 100 player. But they seemed to handle it really well and came out with a swift 2-0, which is really good to see.